Hi guys, so today I am doing a workout at Athletes Authority. It's Saturday, and generally on Saturday I tend to do something that's strongman style in a circuit so I can get through it quickly, and I'm not here all afternoon because I don't really enjoy that. Today's workout probably can't be called strongman because I haven't really put too many strongman moves in it, but I've written it, I'll write it on the board, you guys can do it with me. It's going to be pretty high intensity. I've been trying to do a handstand for fucking years and haven't been able to achieve it, so I always throw that into my circuit for stability. There's some block pulls in there, there's sled pushes. If you can't do a sled push, I'll show you something else that you can Hello YouTube. So today I thought I would talk about my sometimes tumultuous relationship with food and myself. After probably a couple of weeks of feeling not my best physically for absolutely no reason at all, apart from, I guess, habits or habitual ways of thinking, I thought it would be worthwhile sharing that with you in case it resonates with anyone. Basically, for the past couple of weeks, I have been telling myself that I have gained weight. I don't weigh myself at the moment because I don't enjoy it and nothing good comes from it when I'm, or anytime, but especially when I'm not cutting. So when I am going through a period of eating at maintenance or eating above, I can't see any reason for me to get on the scale because it goes one of two ways. I either get on the scale and see a number that I think is acceptable and I still feel obsessed about my weight, Or I get on the scale and I see a number that is not acceptable, and I end up feeling really down about it. It might seem superficial, but it's true. Yeah, for the past couple of weeks I have come to the conclusion that I'm looking watery, that I'm not in my best shape, which is probably true. I've definitely been in better shape, whatever that is, than I am now. I've been in a lower body fat percentage, a lower weight on the scales. I'm probably the strongest I've ever been. I'm not sure if I'm the fittest cardiovascular wise that I've ever been, but you know, there's pros and cons to my current conditioning. Since I started being a PT, which is only, you know, for the past 4 weeks, I have strangely been a bit more harsh on myself, thinking that I now have these standards to uphold, and you know, I need to walk the walk as well as talk the talk, and my physique is now in some ways my calling card, and I've been feeling that more than I thought I would. Basically, when I go through these periods, or maybe it's all the time, but I just become more aware of it when I feel it happens more. Day to day I feel differently about myself. I'm sure you do too. Some days, for no reason whatsoever, I feel fit physically and healthy, and I feel well rested. I feel good in the gym. I feel strong, capable. A fake tan usually helps that. And then other days, you know, nothing has really changed. Often the things that may trigger it are something as simple as eating a meal with a higher sodium content, which means that more often than not the next day I wake up and perhaps my skin doesn't look as tight around my muscles. I may be holding a little bit more water. I feel maybe a little bit lethargic, and then that can trigger this kind of snowball effect whereby I feel crap. I initiate in a really negative self-talk, and my mood ends up dropping, and I feel like I'm kind of fighting these negative thoughts all day that kind of become truths in my mind, because I associate negative feelings towards myself and the way my body looks with a lack of fitness. I feel like I should be working harder. It reflects on the way I approach food. I make different choices with food as well. If I tend to have a week where maybe I eat a meal out once or twice, and then I start to think that I need to eat more basic whole foods, which is fine, but yeah, I make that decision based on the way I feel intrinsically, that I need to eat, I should eat more vegetables and just chicken, and cut out any of the naughty, I think, foods is what I'm trying to get at, even though that's not something that I would want anyone thinking, not naughty or more good foods. I don't believe in that. That's been going on for maybe 10 days, and I find it really frustrating because I think that I hold on to some disordered behaviours and thought patterns that annoy me that I have, and they're thoughts that, to be honest, I feel like they never go away. I feel like they're always there. You kind of fight against them. You have a string of few days where you think really positively and you feel like you're on a roll, and you think like, you know, mentally I'm doing really well, and then you kind of fall back into old habits, or not even old habits, you know, like you fall back into a thought pattern habit that you know is detrimental, but it feels like you can't do anything about it. Basically, I sat down with Goodman, who owns Athletes Authority, and I told him all about these thoughts I was having, and what he said to me was, you know, that you're not unique. Like, those thoughts aren't just yours. Like, those are thoughts that everyone has. And it brought me back to this, you know, pendulum in the fitness world where if we are cutting, we're basically supporting the idea that we need to be less, and that we need to eat less, do more in order to achieve fitness. And if we aren't cutting, we feel pressure to be leaner and be stricter with our food choices, because if we're not, then, you know, how are we really walking the walk? What I want to share with you is that I fall into thought patterns that say maybe if you ate a little bit less, you'd look better. Maybe you'd like yourself a little bit more if you stuck to a lower calorie diet. You would probably be more aesthetically pleasing if you cut out the ice cream from your life and stuck to it. You could work harder in the gym and burn more calories. You are more worthy when you are leaner. Some of the thoughts that I sometimes think to myself, not always, but they do come up. I wanted to tackle some of those ideas because for a long time I haven't acted on them, but they are thoughts that are there in the periphery of my mind, and I'm sure in many of your minds as well. It's quite normal actually. We glorify leanness and visible abs and striations through the muscle. We actually applaud those who possess them, but seldom do we applaud people who are living a balanced lifestyle. I mean, you probably follow a lot of people who live a balanced lifestyle, but more often than not, they receive a wider, stronger array of praise when they are looking a certain way rather than achieving a certain mindset or a balanced, happy approach to fitness. I guess in certain ways as well, these kinds of thoughts that come up can be frustrating because after so long dealing with the same self-sabotaging thoughts, it can get to a point where you think, will this ever end? And I think it a lot. I think, oh, this is such a tiring, cyclical pattern, and why do I have to go for such a long time without it, peering its ugly head? And feeling like I'm making a lot of progress, only to feel like when these thoughts resurface that I'm not making any progress at all. I think the remedy to this is realizing that not all of us are, or actually none of us, I would think, are positive, happy, strong, intrinsically content all the time. And those who say they are probably aren't being very truthful. Having up and down days is completely normal, and it's those down days that make you fully appreciate the good ones. You are making progress because if you can think about the thought patterns that you used to have and your reaction to them to how they are now, no doubt you've come leaps and bounds. And if you haven't, well, try and think about your mental resilience over that time, that you can keep having these thoughts and keep getting on with life. You may feel like they hinder you. I definitely do, but I also feel like they're a part of me, and in a weird way I also feel as though having these thoughts means that I can relate to more people, because if I was under the impression that I was absolutely invincible, confident, killing it like every day, then I couldn't relate. I can't relate to people if I'm under the impression I'm invincible. I think there are also a lot of things that other people can say that, they probably don't even mean to cause harm, but there are certain triggers, certainly for me, that tend to make me think a certain way. Maybe I'm super self-conscious, I'm not sure. I do care way too much about what other people think, which is unfortunate, but it's my Shakespearean fatal flaw. Things like, oh, it's nice to see you eating a lot. Oh, it really looks like you've got a big appetite. Oh God, you've been eating quite a lot today, you must be really hungry. Oh, thank you so much. Or, you're looking really full and healthy at the moment. That is probably an outright compliment from the person who gave it to you, but in my mind I twist it to think, oh my God, like, what do they mean? I think the most important thing, or at least the progress I've made with having potentially disordered thinking around food, is that I know for certain the things that I'm telling myself aren't going to help me long term. Dropping your calories in order to fulfill what you feel you need to be worthy on the scales, the way you look physically is not helpful. It's never going to be helpful to succumb to that kind of thing. Equally, your self-worth does not rely on the way your body looks. That's a difficult one for me because I feel like I still put some of my self-worth on the physical fitness of my body. But if you strip that away, you don't become less of a person. Might be hard for you to grasp, but it's true. And thirdly, that you deserve food. You're not earning it. You never need to earn it. Anything you want to eat, you deserve to eat that. It's a privilege to be in that position, and foregoing it in order to like yourself more is twisted and untrue.